It says in the Gemara that when a person speaks Lashon Hara, you kill 3 people. Which 3? The person that says it, the person that hears it, and the person that is spoken about. So the question is asked, 1 second. The person that said it, you understand? He did a crime, he did something wrong, spoke negatively about another person. The person that heard it, why did you hear? You should be either sitting or learning, you should be doing something positive with yourself. Don't allow someone to tell you something that's inappropriate about another person. But the person that was spoken about, why should he be punished for this? What did he do wrong? On the contrary, if you would ask him, he wouldn't want to have anybody speaking negative things about him. So what did he do wrong? And there's a very powerful answer explained. The Rebbe explains a very powerful idea. That when you speak negatively about another person, you recreate that reality. You bring out that negativity once again. So a person did something wrong, a person stole, a person lied. And then you go to your friend and say, oh, Yankel, he lied. You just recreated the lie. Because as the idea, once again, shared from the Baal Shem Tov, that when a person speaks, we actually create something. We don't see it that way, and that's unfortunate, because if we would see it that way, we would be more careful with the way we speak, with what we say, and so on and so forth. There's a famous story with the Baal Shem Tov, once sitting with his students, the Rebbe mentions it in Hayom Yom, that he was once sitting with the students in the Beis Medrash, and they were learning, and 2 people, very, very something happened in shul that never ever happens. As 2 people got into an argument. It's probably once in a century that such a thing happens. And the argument started getting heated, and more heated, and more heated, and to the point that they started screaming at each other, and one of them screamed at the other, "I'll rip you like a fish." Yeah. And the Baal Shem Tov told the Chavraya Kadisha, his students, that they should put their arms on each other's shoulders. Then when he put his hands on the shoulders of the students that were sitting right next to him, they all shrieked in horror. What happened? They saw that the person that screamed at the other one, "I'll rip you like a fish," they saw him actually do it. What was the point of that? The Baal Shem Tov was pointing out to his Talmidim, to his disciples, how that when we speak something, we actually create that reality. So when a person speaks negativity, you're causing that person that actually did something wrong, you're causing that person should be saying it should be doing that thing wrong again, but now it's your fault. Now you've done that thing wrong. And so that's why, through speaking it, you're actually killing 3 people. But what's the point? The point of this is how powerful our words are, and how careful one has to be in looking at another person. Not to see the negativity in another person. When you see negativity in another person, the point is either for you to help, or for you to realize that there's a message for you. There's something you could be corrected in that area. Another idea of the Baal Shem Tov is, another idea of why it's so negative, why the Lashon Hara is so negative, is because most other areas that need correction in our life could be used for the positive. Shortcomings that we have could be used in a positive way. Whatever things we do wrong, they could be transformed, as we know the idea is expressed in Chassidus. They could be elevated, they could be refined. Characteristics could be refined. If a person has anger, for example, the anger could be directed towards the Yetzer Hara, to be angry at negativities, or if a person is different qualities and different things that a person does wrong could be utilized in a way of serving Hashem properly. Not so with Lashon Hara. There's no redeeming factor to it. Nothing could happen from it. Once you speak negativity about somebody else, what are you going to do with it? There's no way to transform that. There's no way to refine that. It's something that you said. You've created a certain reality, and now there's no way of transforming that negativity within the person. So this is the severity of it, and this is also the idea of how careful one has to be, not even to get to the stage of thinking negativity about another person, but to actually see only the positive in another person, which will not allow the person to speak Lashon Hara. up to one point. But we see something very interesting that the Rambam says, that the idea of Metzora, that a person becomes a Metzora because he says something wrong, because he does something wrong, this is a part of the Chesed of Hashem. Because Hashem is trying to direct, to guide the person to do what is right, to do what is good. And as the Chinuch writes, the Chinuch also writes, so the Rambam says, he says this idea, but he doesn't say that it's an actual Chesed. The Chinuch writes, Misharshrei HaMitzvah, from the root. The Chinuch is a beautiful sefer that explains every single mitzvah in a very unique way. And he writes as follows: Misharshrei HaMitzvah, from the root of the mitzvah, Shirotza HaKel, that God wanted, B'tuvay HaGadol, with His great goodness, Liyasrenu, to educate, to discipline the person, Kasher Yaser Ish Es B'nai, as a parent disciplines his child, Ma'avas Hashem Eisam Yediyan Musra, because of Hashem's love for this person. Which might explain why we don't have Metzora today, because we're not on that level of purity that we need correction so quickly.
Yeah, because we are all not. Now there is no clean person. Yeah.
It's not just that. It's true that there's no person that is perfectly pure. And we're waiting for Mashiach to come when he'll bring the 10th, as Rambam writes, he'll bring the 10th Parah Aduma, and he will purify everybody. But what we see from here, we see that this idea of the Metzora is somehow connected very much with Hashem's kindness. That Hashem's, even though it might seem like a punishment, it might seem like something negative that happens, but the Mefarshim, the commentators point out that this is something that's done for the benefit of the person.
Doesn't the Metzora after the process rise to a higher level than he had been before the process?
I don't.
It's like being reborn. Not to use a foreign term to us, but there's a metaphor of how he is clean, that he emerges from this.
Right. There is mention such a thing. I don't know if that's unique to Metzora. I think that's in general with any person that goes through any purification process.
Well, for instance, he has no hair. As a child, has no hair.
That's right, but that's also not unique to Metzora.
No?
There's the idea that Levium had no hair. I mean, there's the idea in general of purification.
Yeah.
Is that the person becomes, as you say, like a new person.
Right.
To cut He's like a child that is. I don't remember. Perhaps I don't remember that there should be some type of unique reference to Metzora that he's somehow like.
No, but if he is, for instance, as you use a description, if he is raised to the level, of the Levium serving in the temple, that's
right.
A very high level for a person.
Right.
To find himself at who is not serving in the temple.
Right. Yeah. There's I don't recall anywhere that there should be some type of reference to the Metzora, that he somehow reaches something unique more than any person that purifies himself, but that could be.
But Metzora is not cause and
Effect.
effect.
It's cause and effect, but spiritually.
Yeah.
But it's a supernatural one. It's not a natural thing, and that's why it doesn't happen today.
Crime and punishment.
As well. But over here you see, we speak about many times the way we see the kindness of Hashem. Over here you see, and the way Hashem is our parent, and whatever Hashem does to us is as a parent, He does so as a parent. This is one of the areas where you see this quite clearly. That where Hashem says that the chassan has to wait for 7 days. You have to wait until after he finishes the Sheva Brachos. This is his week after his chuppah. That you're celebrating Yom Tov, you have to wait till after Yom Tov is over. But here you see that despite that there's a certain process in place, that there's something that the person has to go through a segregation, so he has to go through a certain element of discipline for something that he has done wrong, yet Hashem waits for this to apply this discipline till until the time is more right for it.
Is tshuva applicable to it?
This is the tshuva. You can't do the tshuva without going through this process.
Okay.
And over here you see the kindness that Hashem has even for a person that has done something wrong. He's a Metzora. He's done something wrong to a point that he has to be taken. He has to be segregated from the entire community. Yet we see Hashem's expression of compassion to the person that will wait till after the 7 days of the chuppah, the 7 days of Yom Tov. And the same thing is also, but not just that, but also the kohen. If the kohen has to go to his house and declare his house Metzora, the kohen will wait until everything is removed from the house.
Until?
Everything, all objects are removed from the house, because once the house becomes Metzora, everything in it also becomes Metzora. So the kohen, and then sometimes it has to be destroyed. So the kohen will wait. When the kohen says that it has to be destroyed, everything has to go. So the kohen will wait until everything is removed and only then declare it. That's what it says. That's the way he's supposed to do it. So this is an area where you see there's beferish, there's clearly discipline involved, yet it's done with kindness. So the lessons from this are very profound. There's the very clear lesson of Ahavas Yisrael, the importance of the way we speak about another person. Not to ever speak negatively about another person, obviously. To think only positively about another person. But much more than that, there's also, we see that Hashem's compassion and Hashem's kindness even while disciplining. And I think that this is a very important lesson for all of us when you're disciplining a child or somebody else, that it can never ever be done out of anger or out of with a negative attitude, but even that has to be done with compassion and with love. L'chaim.
Can I ask, in the just recent episode there was this question and answer for the presentation for Rabbi Zaltzman about the shidduch process, and there is a lot of asking from the parents. A lot of asking for references all over the city, and
That's what Rabbi Zaltzman said?
Yeah.
Okay.
The parents try to find out about the person, the prospective person, and the girl is or the boy is trying to find out, and they're asking all over the place and all different people. I mean, to me, wouldn't that be kind of lashon hara to kind of talk about people? Like if somebody calls you out, and what, you're going to say something negative, or
So this is first of all, with regards to the legal aspect of it, if there's a particular benefit to it, it's not lashon hara. In other words, if you're trying to help the person, right? If someone will be gaining something, will have a real benefit from it, it's not lashon hara. Lashon hara is pure, just going around sharing information. Oh, by the way, you heard this in this person. It's like.
I wanted to say that it's very important that not the idea of saying something negative is not by definition lashon hara. There's times when it is actually appropriate and required
100%
to say something
100%.
negative.
For example, witnesses that come to Beis Din and say, we saw a person breaking Shabbos. Well, lashon hara, but that's a requirement. Right? So I'm first of all, just addressing the legal aspect of your question. Is it lashon hara? Is it not lashon hara? So if there's a particular benefit that someone will have from it, it's not lashon hara. And sometimes, on the contrary, it's for the benefit of the person that's being spoken about as well. It doesn't just go one way. So that's just the legal aspect of it. And this was always our excuse. We never spoke lashon hara. But if someone ever thought of speaking lashon hara, and when we were in elementary, this was our excuse. Oh, I'm doing it to help him. I'm sharing with everybody else to help the person or to help everybody else not to make the same mistake. Right? So this gave you carte blanche. You're able to say whatever you want about anybody because you're doing it for their benefit. That's number one. Number two, I'm not sure what it says over there, but as far as I know, and the questions that are asked are not digging for, give me some dirt on him or her. The questions that are asked are, this is a type of family, or this is a type of person that we're looking for. are there any dark secrets that I should know about that will not come across in a date? Are there any dark skeletons that I should be aware of? Is the family the type of family that I would like to become connected with? We're not, as far as I know, no one's digging for just give me some dirt on person X or family X. There's tell me about the family, tell me about the person, tell me if this will work, and I don't see that, and there's a very strong benefit to it, because the point is, more than anything else, you don't want a young man or young woman walking into something and you meet another person and she's pretty and smart and he's smart and handsome, and wow, they get excited. There are many times, unfortunately, things, especially in a shidduch process, where things happen quite quickly, that you don't really have time to learn about all the details of the person's life, because the secrets could be held for a very long time. But when you ask acquaintances or people that know them, things become apparent and things become known, and a lot of pain could be avoided. There was a woman that was sharing with me her frustration that she married a man that had very serious medical issues, and his friends knew about it, and she had called his friends, or his parents had called his friends before they got married, and his friends didn't share anything, no one said anything, because they were doing it for his benefit. They don't want to say that he had a breakdown and so on. They don't want to hurt him. But what happened, unfortunately, after some children and whatever, they just couldn't last anymore, which caused pain and suffering both to him and to her. So had somebody shared this information,
and the children. So had somebody shared this information, this was a real story where a woman, she was very, very upset about, why didn't someone tell me something? Maybe I would have married him anyways. People marry each other even after they know such information. But let me make a choice. Don't put me in a situation and now it's too late for me to do anything. So really, that's the type of information that people, are there any secrets? So during the date, did he say anything? He didn't say anything. Why? He must have been very smart. What was he thinking? Whatever. You can't judge anybody, but I think that if it's done properly, it's a benefit to both parties as opposed to hurtful.
To minimize the damage.
Yeah.
You may go into revealing some negative sides.
The question is also, it's a very important question. I get this question quite often. I'll get a question, you know this in this family? Yes, I do. Oh, what could you tell me about them? And I don't answer such a question. I don't answer such questions, and I'll tell the person, I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that question. If you have a particular question, I will try to answer you. Now, also, when you answer a question, there are different ways of saying something. There's, let me tell you about this. Right? Or you can say, you know what, you might want to check out the medical history of this and this person. I heard things, I don't know how accurate it is, I don't know, you might want to check it out. When you say something like that, you're alerting them that there might be a possibility of something. You're not saying anything, you're not gloating in the person's tragedies or suffering or something.
This would not be qualified as a Lashon.
This is definitely not Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is when you're going around gossiping about other person. This is truly for the benefit of husband, wife, and children to come. Truly to the benefit, if it's done properly.
I think one of the things about Lashon Hara is that it's sometimes quite complex, which is why the work of the Chofetz Chaim is in a sense quite important. Because Lashon Hara, when it becomes a cover for avoidance, actually is quite a dangerous thing, because evil can grow. If it, the place that evil grows is where it's ignored. Very often. On the other hand, slander is a terrible thing. So the Chofetz Chaim devoted a large portion of his life, and granted, it might be much easier to learn Ahavas Yisrael than to learn avoiding negativity of Lashon Hara. But there are very fine points, I think,
100%,
sometimes in it.
100%, and I agree with that. I agree with this point that especially in the climate that we live today, that everything has to be PC and everything has to be getting along means always smiling at each other. I don't agree with that. I think that if we can't disagree, I think there's a problem in our relationship. I think that disagreeing is an important element of having a healthy relationship. We have to be able to disagree. We have to be able to argue. We have to be able to...
You have to be able to rebuke.
Yeah. But it has to be done...
It's part of love.
The Rebbe actually points out with regards to the Metzora that the only person that was able to qualify or declare the person as a Metzora was a Kohen. Why? Because a Kohen is a Ish Chesed. Is a man of kindness. That the only person who was able to rebuke someone is the man of kindness, which points out once again that how we're supposed to rebuke, or if you ever feel the urge of rebuking someone, you have to ask yourself, is this coming from out of my love for the other person, or is this coming from because I didn't have breakfast this morning, or something similar to that. Or I got it. Right. Anyway, we'll stop over here.